Joining us now is Wits Gold Chief Executive Philip Kotza to explain more about the deal. Philip, no doubt you saw the Sunday Times article that Barry wrote. Is he on the money there? Does the ANC stand to make about 100 million rand in this transaction?
No, I guess the short answer would be no, Alec. It's unfortunate that Barry didn't get the detail and made sure that the article that he wrote was accurate. There are unfortunately a number of inaccuracies in the article itself, which we will have a discussion with Barry to rectify. And hopefully he can sort of put the right facts on the table then.
So Chancellor House is not a shareholder?
Well, firstly, if we take it back when Adam formed the company in 2006, there were 3 BE entities, 2 major ones. So one was Continental Africa and the other one was Trantakismet, and then there was a women's league, about 3% in it. The Continental Africa holdings is really split up of a number of different entities. And in our structure, we really cannot see any specific holding for Chancellor House in it. Be that as it may, there is a portion of it that could potentially have an affiliate to Chancellor House. And in our calculation, that number sits in the region of about 7%, 7.5%. So it's substantially less than what Barry has alluded to.
It'll help print a few election posters, no doubt. But that's not really the reason why we asked you to come here. It was more Wits Gold, when you did the Burnstone deal from Great Basin Gold, you were quoted as saying that you needed to get Burnstone right. Great Basin couldn't do it. You would love an update on that. But while you're busy sorting this thing, that problem out, along comes Neil Froneman and says, come and be part of Sibanye.
Yes, I think if we put the Burnstone transaction just in perspective, you do very good deals when the gold price is under pressure and the market is under pressure as it is now. I think Burnstone was a good example of that, and therefore as Wits Gold, we had a stated intention to become operational, and this was part of that strategy. Neil has been in the industry for a number of years, equally as long as what I have, and I think we have discussed the synergies that are still available in South Africa, and the way to become competitive again for us as gold miners in South Africa. We need to sort of see those synergies and bring those synergies to the table. I think Neil has done a fantastic job in splitting Sibanye out from Goldfields, and I think his performance has sort of explained itself, and being a dividend payer, I think will be a very good way of attracting future investors back to South Africa.
But everybody knows, or people in the gold mining industry can see that the fit between yourselves and Sibanye because of Beatrix and your operations there. But where does Burnstone come into all of this?
Well, Burnstone, I think, is Burnstone is on the table currently as a transaction that Wits Gold is pursuing. I think you would agree that we've done a very good transaction there under the current circumstances. We effectively bought the company for R1. We then accepted a portion of the debt that we will repay from future cash flows from the operation. So it comes with very little risk for us as Wits Gold. If you look at the quality of the asset, there were a number of things that were done wrong historically, and we've identified that. Alec, but this is one of the shallowest mines in South Africa. So I think for any future gold producer in South Africa, not looking at Burnstone, a mine where you'd spend 90% of the capital already, you are very close to production right now, and you've got about $700 million sunk. You'd be silly not to look at that.
It's an extraordinary amount of money in there. Will that also go into Sibanye then? Burnstone?
Yes, at this stage, Sibanye is still busy with a due diligence on that to complete that, but it will certainly be considered by Sibanye and they will take that decision.
The question has to be why not, if Burnstone is so attractive, keep that in Wits Gold and then sell the rest of the operating assets to Neil, because that's what Sibanye wants.
Sure. Like I think for us to be successful in the Burnstone transaction, we need to get enough funding to grow production at Burnstone and get it to its full design capacity. That is one of the aspects that Sibanye certainly brings to the table. They are generating significant cash flows at this stage, and whilst maintaining a dividend policy in place, they can also afford to grow the Burnstone production as well.
Your investors seem very keen on the Goldfields deal. We saw a sharp increase in the share price on the back of their announcement. Is this indicative perhaps of how shareholders are feeling towards the deal?
I think in a gold market where just from the beginning of this year, you've had gold shares that have dropped somewhere between 60 to 80% of their value across the board, both South African and international companies. So being an exploration company, you obviously get affected even bigger. And that was the reason why we wanted to get into production. I think getting a nice premium on the current share price for our shareholders has certainly won most of their support over. But I must make the point, although Wits Gold management and the board is positive about the offer and the transaction, the final decision rests with our shareholders, and we will be putting it to vote, and they need to vote on this transaction.
But there's already over 50% that say they like it. They like it.
You're correct, yes. Look, we are very tightly held. We have a very tightly held share register, and the top 5 shareholders in our company takes us just over 50%, and they're already supportive of it. So, once again, I think in the markets that we currently are, getting a premium to where the share traded, I think would be fairly attractive for our shareholders, and that's why we put it forward.
Would Adam Fleming be a seller, one of those 5?
Adam is certainly part of it. Adam is also our company chairman, so you would know that Adam had enough insight in the company and into the offer. And as you know, he's a very staunch gold bull and also very supportive of South Africa. So
does he still own those blocks in downtown Johannesburg?
He certainly does, yes. And we actually operate from one of them. Best lease rates we could have hoped for.
What do you pay?
You would be very surprised. That is it. I can't tell.
Under 50 Rand a square metre?
It's certainly around there.
Wow.